A national budget is a central political process. In addition to laying out the expenditure and income of the government, it provides a platform for a long-term vision of our country and its political credibility for the future. It is about achieving resilience and ensuring South Africa's fiscal consolidation so that we are not caught up with high and increasing debt. The budget is about mobilizing the people's creative energies to collectively move the nation forward. It is essentially about building trust in the economy. Chair, this ANC government continues with its egotistic, know-it-all, dictatorial, vindictive attitudes and has presented a budget which is going to make our future even bleaker. It is a budget which is going to increase the gap between the rich and the poor. Above all, it is a budget that is unrealistic and unsustainable in the medium term based on likely decreasing revenues. Our hope was that this budget was going to give the country a better South Africa for tomorrow. There are important quantitative elements in this budget, but they are not everything. Issues such as vision, leadership, governance, genuine democracy, and the quality of life of people on a sustained basis are equally important. A budget is an opportunity to sow the seeds of inclusivity by reaching out to all the people with sustainable economic and social policies. Unfortunately, this budget falls far short of the goals, with education, health, human settlements, and social protection making up only 56.7% of this budget. We need to ask, who is this budget really for? In the last 7 years, we have seen a rapid breakdown of state institutions, preventing them from working to the benefit of the people. The Department of Health has many problems: a lack of doctors, nurses, equipment and medication, and a lack of timely services. The Department of Higher Education has inadequate funding for National Student Fund Aid Scheme. And the Department of Basic Education lacks commitment from teachers and delivers books too late. The heart of our country's problems is the lack of good leadership and appalling standards of governance at virtually all levels, which has been exacerbated under President Zuma. A lack of accountability and transparency has become a norm. Good governance is not merely a cliche and a catchphrase. Its principles are critically important for the progress and prosperity of our beloved nation. Chairperson, South Africa is ranked way down in 61st place on Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index. South Africa also had below average integrity ratings as measured by the annual Corruption Perceptions Index. Our economic growth. This government has treated this term as business as usual, without a single major government initiative to create new industries with good incomes. It has continued to claim acceptable growth. They misuse the term, claiming the economy will recover in the near future and making it sound as though somebody will wave a magic wand and this will just happen. Nothing could be farther from the truth. But more importantly, Honorable Speaker, has it created many jobs? The answer is no. The only historic thing about these past 7 years has been the increasing weight of debt our people have been placed under. Never in the history of this country have we been in so much debt. But, Honorable Speaker, the massive spending last year of more than 2 billion rand on the allocation, and the allocation of more than 3.7 billion rand for this year on the New Development Bank, funded through borrowing and asset sales of more than 23 billion rand last year, could leave the biggest dent yet in our budget, and it is our people who will be shaken by the burden of debt. This is unacceptable. The targets of the NDP are not being achieved and will not be achieved under this ANC government. Government debt will increase by 9.87% for the 2016-17 financial year, and our budget deficit increases to 4.2% of GDP. Debt as a percentage of GDP will reach 46.2%. It was only 24% in 2009. The long and short of this is that the people of this country are and will continue to be paying for debt.
Honourable members, the noise levels are too high. Continue.
Based on 2016 figures, a child born today automatically inherits a debt of 32,800 upon birth, before they've even opened their eyes, grown their first tooth, and taken their first steps. Each household will have a debt burden of more than 131,200. Each family will therefore forego the opportunity to buy a 131,200 car or invest 131,200 in a house. Cheers. Because they presently, against their will, owe and will be indirectly paying off 131,200 rand towards the servicing of these loans. They are already paying for it from increased prices and poor service delivery, because large amounts of funds are going towards paying our debt and interest payments. We have a greater need for sound financial management now more than ever. We should set clear targets on debt and borrowings. How should we spend public funds? Obviously not by spending millions on Nkandla, where the best use of public funds could be used, in this case, to build 2,200 homes for our people living in townships. The cost of living, food prices have increased by between 7% and 14% in the past 6 months, and electricity has increased by 9.4%. This has left most households worse off in very real terms. The sharp rise in food prices has disproportionately impacted on the poor, as poor households spend a large portion of their household budget on food. Unfortunately, the increased cost of living has not been accompanied by an increase in incomes. Unemployment rates have increased, and the country's continued low economic growth has hampered efforts to address poverty. The only way to improve the living standards of the poor is to have high inclusive economic growth that translates into more employment and increasing family incomes. The Honourable Minister of Finance remarked during his budget address that we need to work as a team to achieve the future that our people deserve. He can count on the Democratic Alliance to do exactly that, and to ensure that any legislation and policies that passes through this House will be robustly debated so that the good interests of the people are represented. It is what we have been called to do. Honourable Speaker, the difference between the Honourable Minister's view and our view is that the only team that can achieve this future for our people is Team DA. There are very serious shortcomings in this bill, underpinning this bill, and accordingly, the DA is unable to support it. I thank you.